We needed it more than you. That's what my brother-in-law said, smirking across the living room while everyone pretended they didn't hear him. My hands were still cold from the lake water when I checked my account, expecting to clear a few payments. Instead, I watched every dollar I had saved over 5 years vanish in one blinking refresh. Zero. All of it. Gone. I looked up at him. His glass raised, his laugh sharp enough to cut. They thought I would crumble right there at the lake house. But the truth was simple. This wasn't the moment I broke. It was the moment I woke up. My name is Florence, and for most of my life, I believed family was something solid, something you could lean on without wondering if it would collapse beneath you. I grew up in Portland in a small house that always smelled like sawdust and Sunday coffee. My parents ran a tiny hardware store on the edge of the city, the kind of place where regulars stopped by just to talk. They raised me to work hard, keep my word, and never take more than I earned. Allison, my younger sister, was different. She floated through life like it owed her something. While I spent summers stocking shelves at the store, she spent hers chasing parties, boys, and late-night thrills. Mom used to sigh. Dad used to smile. And I used to cover for her, telling myself she just needed time to grow up. But time didn't give us what we hoped for. Not long after I turned 25, a drunk driver ran a red light and took both of my parents in one instant. The world didn't just break, it hollowed out. We sat in the lawyer's office days later, numb, barely breathing, listening as he explained the estate. A modest house, the store, and a small savings account. When everything was settled, Allison and I each received a portion. I put mine into the boutique I had dreamed about for years. She put hers into Kyle. Kyle came into her life like a storm, loud, charming, too slick around the edges. The kind of man who talks fast, laughs hard, and carries himself like he's already won something he never earned. Within months, they were married. Within a year, Allison wasn't the same. Softer, quieter, always checking Kyle's expression before she spoke. I noticed, but she brushed it off. He just wants what's best for us, she'd whisper, though she never looked convinced. The lake house reunion had been Uncle Robert's idea, a chance to reset as a family. And I actually believed him. I loaded the car with snacks, folded sweaters, and that warm sense of hope you only feel when you desperately want things to be better. When I pulled up to the dock, the sunlight bounced across the water like a welcome. Emma hugged me first, leaned in, and murmured, "Just prepare yourself." Inside, I tried to pretend everything was normal. I smiled. I made small talk. But Kyle's laugh carried through every room. And every time Allison looked at me, it was like she wanted to say something, but couldn't. The air felt off, like a storm waiting for the right moment to hit. And I had no idea the moment was coming for me. The first sign was small. So small, I almost convinced myself. I imagined it. My laptop sat on the dresser exactly where I'd left it when I went downstairs to help Emma chop vegetables. But when I returned, the screen was angled differently. The charging cord was plugged into a port I never used, a tiny thing. A shift of a few inches, but it hit me like a tap on the back of the neck. Quiet, deliberate, wrong. The plastic was still warm. Someone had touched it. Someone had opened it. I checked the browser history. Clean, not empty. Clean. Wiped out my instincts, whispered the truth. Something here's off. Later that night, while everyone played cards in the living room, I went to my phone to approve a routine payment for the boutique. Instead of the usual confirmation, I saw a red banner. Payment declined. I tried again. Same message. Still, I didn't panic. Technical issues happened. It wasn't until morning that everything snapped. Claire called while I was still half asleep, her voice tight and controlled. "Florence." The vendor payment bounced again. "Your account shows insufficient funds." My stomach dropped. That's impossible. But before I opened my banking app, I already knew. Some part of me had known for hours. The screen loaded. Numbers shifted. Then nothing, not a glitch. Not a mistake. 0, 5 years of work. Gone overnight, I walked into the kitchen like a ghost. Coffee smells. Forks clattering. Voices murmuring. All of it felt distant. My money's gone, I said. Silence fell hard. Uncle Robert stood up. Gone? What do you mean gone? I held up my phone. Transferred out overnight. All of it. Gasps, murmurs. Emma rushed to my side. Only 2 people didn't move. Allison, staring into her mug. Kyle, leaning back, arms crossed, expression blank. I called the bank, I said. They said the password and security questions were entered correctly from a recognized device. A chill rippled through the room. I turned to Kyle. You were near my laptop yesterday. Were you in my room? Allison's head snapped up. Are you accusing my husband? Kyle let out a short, smug laugh. Maybe your little business partner messed up. Or maybe you don't know how money works. His tone sliced through the air. Show us your bank statements, I said. His smirk twitched. I don't owe you anything. Oh, really? Because if you weren't involved, you'd be shouting louder than anyone here. Allison trembled. She still wouldn't look at me. Kyle leaned forward, his voice cold enough to frost glass. We needed it more than you. The room erupted, shouts, disbelief, but none of it touched me. Something inside me hardened, settled, sharpened. This wasn't a mistake. It was a betrayal. Planned, personal, precise. And it was the moment. I stopped being afraid. I stood up slowly, legs shaking but resolve steady. I grabbed my bag. Kyle's eyes flicked toward me. You won't mind what's coming next? I said. He scoffed and jumped up, but Uncle Robert stepped between us. Back off, he said quietly. Kyle sneered. Oh, please. The money's gone, buried. She'll never see it again. But he didn't know one thing. 6 months earlier, after a hacking attempt on my boutique, I'd installed a silent security tool on my laptop, one that captured photos. Keystrokes, device IDs, and timestamps of anyone who touched it. So when Kyle used it, the evidence was saved every single second I pulled out my phone. You won't mind what's coming next, I repeated. Then I made the call. The dispatcher answered instantly. I reported ongoing financial fraud. Kyle laughed, waving his arms. You called the police because you lost your savings? Maybe they'll come next week. But something shifted in the room. Even Kyle felt it. Minutes later, a violent bang rattled the walls. The front door flew open. Portland police. Nobody move. Kyle paled. 3 officers walked in, followed by Detective Harmon, holding a folder. She nodded at me. Florence? We traced multiple login attempts from this location. Kyle stuttered. Someone hacked us. Detective Harmon raised an eyebrow. Interesting. The logins came from a recognized device. I handed her my phone, the photos, the timestamps, the recordings. Kyle's face collapsed as she scrolled. Mr. Henderson, she said. Turn around. Hands behind your back. He tried to run. Officers grabbed him. Allison, tell them. Tell them I didn't. But Allison stood beside me, crying but strong. You did it, she whispered. You know you did. Kyle's bravado shattered. You think you're free without me? You're nothing without me. Allison stepped forward. I was nothing with you. Kyle went silent, afraid for the first time. As they dragged him out, he shouted my name like it was an accusation. Florence, this isn't over. But it already was. After he was gone, Allison collapsed into my arms. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I should have told you. I should have left him. It's over now, I whispered. You're safe. Detective Harmon returned later. With this evidence, you'll recover most of the funds. I nodded. Relief washed through me for the first time in days. Over the next week, everything moved fast. Most of my money came back through fraud protection. Allison filed for divorce and moved in with me temporarily. A few weekends later, we returned to the lake house as a family, this time to reclaim it. We repainted the porch, fixed broken windows, and opened every curtain to let light back in. The house didn't feel haunted anymore. It felt whole. A month later, I stood inside my second boutique, sunlight spilling across the new displays like a promise. The money was back. The doors were open. And for the first time in a long time, I felt grounded in a life I built myself. Allison stopped by with pastries, her smile softer and steadier. She wasn't healed yet, but she was moving toward something real. Something hers, looking back at the lake house, at Kyle, at everything that broke and everything that rebuilt. One truth stayed with me. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to hurt you. Boundaries do dot if this story hits something in you. Share your experience below. And subscribe so you don't miss the next one.